Okay, potentially you could get asked a question evaluating the judiciary. Remember, the judiciary is the collective name for judges. So, what is good about the judiciary and their ability to make law and set precedent? Well, first of all, they are legal experts. They are highly educated. They have worked for years in the legal sector. They receive training throughout their career to keep them up to date with equality and diversity issues. They are more knowledgeable than Parliament in many respects because MPs making law may not know fully about the laws or the subject area, whereas judges will be very, very experienced. They would have practiced as a barrister or a solicitor. Therefore, they're not likely to make mistakes. So there are very few mistakes, and you could argue that the rule of law and justice is therefore achieved. The next issue is that diversity. So you now have an increase in minority ethnic judges. In 2020, it was 8%. It's still underrepresented in superior judges, but more women are becoming judges because more are becoming barristers and solicitors. So that is filtering through to the higher levels. So it is becoming more diverse, which is important because it means all good legal brains are being fully utilised. Only one Supreme Court judge is female, though, so maybe in coming years that will change. Another good thing is that judges have tenure, they have job security. This means they can't be sacked very easily at all. So the government can't sack them. This is good because it respects the separation of powers, that each arm of the state should be kept separate and should be independent from each other. They act as a checking body. So judges are allowed to make politically unpopular decisions. And they have done this with Brexit. The government tried to trigger Article 50 without making an act of Parliament, and Gina Miller took them to court, and Supreme Court ruled in her favour that the government needs to make an act of Parliament before leaving the EU, which they then had to do. They also ruled against Boris Johnson for proroguing Parliament, so he shut down Parliament. And they said, you can't do that. So they do provide a check on the government, which ensures that nobody is above the law, again, respecting the rule of law. The fact that they can set laws and make laws is good because they have the ability to change out-of-date laws. If they waited for Parliament to change the law, it may never happen. So injustice could be being caused. So, yeah, examples: Offences Against the Person Act 1861. Parliament have not updated this, but judges have said that biological GBH is an offence. So if you know you're HIV positive and you pass it on to somebody, that is a criminal offence. However, there are some negative points. So the diversity issue, a lot of judges are old, particularly superior judges. So the judiciary is dominated by older judges. In 2020, 76% of judges were over 50, 40% were over 60. So they are quite old. Generally, you're not appointed under the age of 40. Now, you could argue, well, that means they're really case hardened or they've got outdated opinions and morals. So maybe they're not up to date with society. In terms of gender, it's not representative. So only 32% are women, only 26 of superior judges are women, and only one Supreme Court judge is a woman. And they are generally upper class. They've been to private schools and they've been Oxbridge educated, which means they've got lots of knowledge and they're highly intelligent people. However, most defendants are working class, so do they really understand the struggles of a defendant in a criminal case? The next disadvantage, which we also put in the advantages section, is that they have tenure. So it's very difficult to remove a superior judge who is incompetent. And you could argue, well, justice isn't being achieved. Yes, there is an appeal system, but what if you're at the Supreme Court? You can't appeal any further. Also, appeals are very expensive. They're very time consuming. There is going to be a delay. So judges do misdirect the jury, and then you have to wait years before that error in the law is corrected. And then one of the problems is that judges are unelected. So this is undemocratic. You have an undemocratic, unelected body making law. Surely Parliament should be the only body making law. Parliament is sovereign. That's what the rule of law says. That's what democracy says, that elected people should be making law. However, through a system of precedent, we are letting judges make the law. So you have to consider whether that is a good point or not. Okay, the next videos are going to talk about the separation of powers.